Assalamualaikum and good morning everybody. This week we are going to look at the listening paper, specifically listening to dialogues or interviews. Let's take a look at the tips and techniques to answer the listening paper. Alright, first of all, you need to remember that the listening paper contributes about 30% to your overall grade for your IGCSE paper. So let's not assume that it is not important. Okay, the total mark for the listening paper is 40. The total mark for your reading and writing paper is 80. So 80 plus 40 is about 120. Okay, and to get a passing grade, passing grade would be A until E. You have to get more than 20 marks for listening. Passing grade, yeah? It's not even A star. Passing grade, you need to get over 20. So if you get less than 20, this is what resulted in a grade called UG, which is ungraded. So we do not want that. So listening paper, when we look at past years, the past year students, okay, most students who did not get very good marks, very good result for English paper, did so because they did not do so well for their listening paper. Okay, so of course the first thing that you need to remember when you get any exam paper is you need to read the introduction, okay, or you need to read the instruction to each question. Okay, the introduction to question, especially for listening paper, is very important because it will provide clues as to what will happen in the exercise. Okay, the introduction will give you an idea of the topic that will be discussed and the tone or the whether it will be formal or an informal discourse. Okay, and this would help you to predict what might be said next. Okay, if a question is concerned with the cost of an item, we are talking about numbers here. Okay, so you need to give the answer in the original currency. Okay, the cost kan, harga. Okay, the price. Okay, a numerical amount alone is not enough. So if the answer is 1,000 pounds, you need to give the pounds there. You cannot write just 1,000, or you cannot change the currency to dollars. Okay, pounds is pound, dollars is dollars. Can you use the symbol? You can, if you are really sure that the symbol is correct. Okay, if you are not sure, just use the spelling. Okay, secondly, you need to spend some time practicing listening to numbers, especially numbers that sound alike. For example, 14 and 40, 15 and 50, 30 and 13. Okay, so these numbers sounds very similar, so you need to be able to distinguish those. Okay, you need also to watch out for plurals. Millions is not the same as million. The same goes with uncommon plurals as well. Okay, like children and child, they are not the same. So one child, two children, they are not the same. Okay, the S's is important. Okay, next, you need to supply the exact number of answers required. Okay, for each question, they will state clearly how many points are needed. So sometimes they will ask you to write 3 items. You need to make sure that you have given the right number of answers. For many questions on the paper, you will need to provide more than one answer to get a single mark. So the mark might be 1, but you might need to give 2 answers. So if you give only one answer, you will not get any mark. So it's 1 or 0 lah. Okay, this is what we call task fulfillment. Next, you need to also be aware of the word count. Usually in the instruction, they will state the number of words you need to write. Write 1 or 2 words only in each gap. Okay, so do not give more than necessary. You need to be familiar as well which one is considered a word. Okay, like even very short word like I, that is one word. is one word, and is one word, or is one word as well. Okay, you will hear everything twice, so don't panic. Okay, always write some notes as you listen. Active listening, because this will help you confirm your answer. Because you will hear twice, the first listening should be where you write down the answer. The second listening is to confirm your answer. Alright, sometimes, okay, even after listening twice, you still do not know the answer. Of course, if you need to guess. Okay, use this as the last resort. Okay, sometimes you hear a word, you are not sure how it is spelled, you can guess how it spelled. You can still get marks. Okay, even when you make spelling mistakes, but only if your word is close to the correct word and if it does not form another recognized English word. Okay, the example given here is the word chance. Okay, it is almost similar to the word chance. Okay, like the if you speak in an American accent, it will be chance. Okay, it's very similar to chance. Okay, but you will not get marks for this because chance is also a recognized English word. But if you really do know the word chant and you spell it as chante with an E, chant, with an E, extra E there, you might still get a mark because it's not really an English word. There's no such word as chant with an E at the end. Okay. For answers which require longer responses, okay, you need to make sure you have communicated the idea clearly. Fortunately for our listening paper, there is no question which will ask you to provide a sentence length answer. Most of the question will ask you to write about the longest I think would be about 5 words, 4-5 words. Okay, not even a sentence. Okay, sometimes they will ask you even lesser than that, 2 or 3 words. Okay, and remember, the listening paper is a test mainly of your ability to write down what you have heard. Okay, so meaning that your answer is already being said by the speaker. Okay, you do not need to reword it or rephrase your answer. You need to also, when you have questions where you choose from a range of options, they are given, you give like A, B, C. Okay, you need to note the clues to the answers next to the question as you listen. Okay, this is what we call active listening. When you active listen, you listen actively. Okay, you should write chunks of dialogues. Okay, words. Okay, or destination. Where is the destination? Okay, write it in on your question paper. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It shows that you are listening. Okay. You also need to practice identifying people's feelings, attitudes, and opinions on certain topics through the oral clues. Okay, when we speak, we give clues to our feelings through the high and lows of our tones. If we speak in higher tones, it might show that we are excited or we are angry. Okay, if someone is speaking very fast, probably they are in urgency, or they are trying to do things very fast, or they are nervous. Okay, this is clues, oral clues that shows our feelings and our opinions about things. Okay, and next, you need to be careful of the buts. Okay, buts, B-U-T-S, buts. Okay, especially when we listen to native speakers. Those from the UKs are usually not so blunt about describing how they feel. Okay, when we ask them something, because they want to be polite to us, they go in a roundabout way of saying it. Okay, for example, if someone dislike mint chocolate, okay, they would not go straight ahead and say, I hate mint chocolate, or I don't like mint chocolate. They would say something like, I don't mind the taste of mint chocolate, but I would rather not eat it if I could. You need to pay particular attention to the but, Because if you only listen to the first part of the dialogue, I don't mind the taste of mint chocolate, you would think that this person like mint chocolate. But because of the things that come after the but, I would rather not eat it if I could. It shows that their real attitude towards mint chocolate, which is they dislike it. Next, you need to practice listening to both formal and informal dialogues or interviews with speakers from different places. Okay, you need to get used to the different accents and pace and tones in which people may speak to each other. Okay, currently I think in recent years, Cambridge has started to include not only speakers who speak the received pronunciation, the Queen's English. They also include speakers that speak like with a Scottish accent or Irish accent. There are even American speakers or even Indian speakers who speak English with an Indian accent, or even Asian speakers. Okay, so you need to be able to understand their pronunciation, the tones, the changes in tones as well. Okay, and especially with informal dialogues, we usually have undertones. What do I mean by undertones? Undertones are emotion that underlie, that is there in our speech, that may not be so clear to a speaker if they are not used to it. Okay, for example, being sarcastic. Okay, sarcastic or commands or indirect compliments or even indirect insults. Okay, for example, you meet someone after a long time and they say, "Oh, you look good." Okay, so different from how you look in December. That is an underhanded or indirect insult. Okay, because they say that you look good now, but you look terrible when they last see you in December. So you have to be able to notice this. Okay, to notice these undertones. Okay, so how do you notice this? You practice listening to both formal and informal dialogues or interviews. Next, when you listen, of course, especially with longer listening tasks like dialogues or interviews, sometimes, okay, you came across a word that you don't immediately understand and you start to panic. Don't do this. Okay, you need to continue. Just write down whatever you hear, note it down, the sound of the word. Okay, and then when you listen again the second time, you can try and guess the meaning based on the context of the conversation. Okay, you will be surprised how easily you can find the meaning based on guessing based on the context. Okay, next, you need to practice listening to conversation without transcript or subtitles. Okay, this is some people may think that, oh, I think watching TVs or watching movies with the subtitle help me improve my English. Of course, okay, because it help you recognize the words. It also help you with writing. Okay, but not so much with active listening. Okay, with active listening, what you should do if you are watching Netflix, for example, you should turn off the subtitle. You should try and understand what is being said without looking at the subtitle to distract you. Okay, and this will also help you to get familiar with pronunciation of words as well as the changes in tones. Okay, it will train your brain to understand the conversation quickly. Okay, even without using contextual clues. Okay, and last but not least, of course, you need to use the language daily. Okay, you can only do well in listening test if you are familiar with the language. This is true to any listening test, Bahasa Melayu listening test or other language listening test. You need to be familiar with the language, the sound of the words, okay, the changes, the tones, the way we speak. Okay, so surround yourself with English speaking materials. Okay, for example, the songs, films, shows, and people who speak English. Many of you who are at home, okay, are struggling with this because you don't speak English at home. Okay, don't be disappointed or don't be so worried about this. Okay, you can still do it, you can still practice by talking to your friend. Get in touch with your friend and practice speaking English with them, or you can practice speaking English with your family. Okay, just assign a time. Okay, can we speak English now? Okay, while eating dinner, for example, it's a good time for you to practice listening and speaking. Alright, let's practice. I have provided 2 links that you can press to get to the practice exercise that was prepared on the British Council pages. Okay, on British Council website pages. Okay, I will not go through the practice with you in this video, but I would really encourage you to go and practice yourself by clicking the link that you can find under this video. Okay, go to the link and practice answer the question on the practice and try and see which of the tips and techniques you have used while answering the question. Okay, look at where you struggle. Okay, these are very good practice. This one, the practice that I gave you are at pre-intermediate level, which is the A2 level. Most of you, when we did our diagnostic listening test, are at a level a B1 and B2 level, which is more than this, okay, which is higher than this. So you should be able to answer A2 level listening test well. Okay, so today by yourself you can go to the British Council page and practice answering the exercises. Okay, use the tips and techniques that I have shared with you earlier. Okay, so that's all for today. If you have any question in regards to your listening paper, please feel free to text me on Telegram or to get in touch with your own English teacher and ask them about this. Okay, until our next class, I hope that you have a good day and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.